here in the heart, here in the heart, here in the heart space. Here in the heart, here in the heart, here in the heart space.
Hello and welcome to Fairy and Flame. My name is Kathryn Camsey.
And I'm Casey Hodges, and together we're building up the collective consciousness of our world one pod at a time. Ooh, today is going to be a big pod. I'm the honorary sister today
You are.
of the two Camsey sisters that we're going to be talking to. We're so lucky to have Sara Adams. Hi, Sara.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. It's lovely to
Good.
be here.
I'm so thankful you made the journey across the pond to be on our pod.
Oh,
Flew in just for the pod.
We're at that level,
you're
folks.
welcome.
Oh. Well, Sara, there's so many, I've gotten to know you very quickly in a short amount of time over the last few days. There's so many fascinating things that we're going to talk about today. There's also going to be some difficult things that we're going to talk about today. And I just want to give our audience a bit of a heads up there. We are going to be talking about the loss of a child to acts of violence. And so this is a very soft trigger warning for anyone that might have an issue with that. But I also want to introduce you because you've done some pretty wonderful things for your life and your healing journey. Mm-hmm. So Sara Adams, you're an author of a children's book of which, well, where did the book go?
Oh, there it is. Here it is.
The Little Tree's Secret. We're going to give all of you guys this information later on about how to order this off of Amazon. You're a singer. You have a band, the Sunshine Choir, correct?
Yeah.
Yep. And you're a philanthropist. You've been doing a lot of work as it relates to, that's come from the loss of Alice. And so we're going to talk about all of those things today. But I'm going to let your sister lead this interview today, because I think that's only appropriate.
Yeah, I'll try my best not to cry through any of this.
And if you do, it's okay.
That's okay. It's funny because even with you doing that lead up, Sarah's like, oh, an author. Oh, no. Oh, I'm not a philanthropist. I can't say that word.
Well,
that
I don't
word
consider
beginning with P.
myself to be any of those things, but thank you for the introduction.
But the magic of you and the beauty of you and the way that you're so inspiring is that's exactly, you are all of those things, but you just see it as who you are. Yeah. When I very, very first, I knew you were coming over, and Casey said, oh, well, we'll get her on the pod. And I was like, oh yeah, we'll get her on the pod. And then I said to you, oh, we want to interview you for the pod. And you're like, oh. And you sort of looked at me, you're like, but what have I got to talk about? Yeah. Like, I don't know it's not like I've been through anything or, which is just, I mean, it's amazing. It's really, that's such a accolade to you because you're so amazing and positive.
It's strange because I never feel like I put myself in the spotlight, which is a strange thing to say because I run choirs. So you think but really I like
you're literally on
stage. But I like to uplift other people. I like to make other people shine. So it's weird for me to be in the spotlight.
Well,
today.
you should be in the spotlight because you're special and I love you. And I'm really glad that you're here. Obviously, we want to talk about all the wonderful things that you've done and how you've managed to navigate everything that you've been through. But and I've spoken about Alice obviously a lot, but if you feel comfortable telling us a little bit about what happened and how it happened, and then we can go on to how you went through that and came out the other side.
Yeah, okay. I'll just tell you a little bit about who Alice was.
Okay, lovely.
She was such a wonderful little girl from the start, and she had a little sister.
What's her full name? Sorry to interrupt.
Alice Louise Adams.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and she was just one of those people who was very joyful, and sort of had a calm, sort of but fun, exciting energy. A little bit like Kathryn, really. Yeah. And she liked being with people and connecting them together, and she just a bit of silliness, and she didn't take herself too seriously, and very joyful person. And so she was. There was a lot of. She was artistic as well, very musical. She liked rainbows and fairies and all sorts of things, all those kind of things. But when she was, one of the things that she really wanted to do is she quite liked the idea of being a tattoo artist, but she wanted to be a tattoo artist who'd never had a tattoo. And it wasn't because she was into tattoos, but she thought it would be really lovely to sit with people and talk to them and tell them you know, find out their story and who they were and just talk to them, and then maybe create some art from that conversation and do that.
Oh, that's like a channel, a kind
Yeah.
of channel.
Yeah.
She
tattoo.
really,
Beautiful.
she really liked people. And one of my favourite pieces of art that she's done is she went on a train into London, a tube train, and she sat there and she had a pencil and a pad, and people came and sat in front of her because you're sitting opposite each other. And she said, oh, do you mind if I sketch you? And she'd chat to people and sketch them. And it's a big, long sketch of all these different faces. And some people were there with her for a few stops. Some people were there for one stop, and it's just a very gentle sketch, an outline, but she hasn't filled it in afterwards. And I kind of think it's a metaphor for life. People, you're on this journey, aren't you? People come onto your train and then they get off, and you know, sometimes you chat to them, sometimes they're just over there and you don't talk to them. But anyway, that's one of my favourite pieces of art of her.
You have that piece.
I've got that piece, yeah.
Oh,
So I love
that
it.
is so profound.
Yeah.
So true too.
She really enjoyed it, but because she liked talking to people. So that was Alice, and she worked in a hotel. She'd only been there a few weeks. She was working in a hotel, and there was a manager of the hotel who's about 10, 12 years older, and there was also another guy who was there who was the same age as Alice. So the manager and this guy, they were in the staff quarters together. They stayed together. They were both Hungarian, and they were friends, and their mums were friends. But Alice was supporting this younger guy because he wanted to go back to Hungary and finish his studies, but he was worried about telling the older guy because he knew that he wouldn't want him to go back, because he'd sort of taken him under his wing and built him up. He'd been at the hotel for 2 years. So Alice said, just email him and then we'll go back and we'll talk to him. So he emailed, they went back to the staff quarters. I almost feel like what happened to Alice is almost sort of irrelevant to me now, but I'll tell the story in case, I don't know, maybe
Unless do you feel happy telling the story?
I'll tell the story,
Okay.
and then we'll see. So I'm always happy to talk about it, but I usually do it on a one-to-one if people ask me and I feel that they want to know. So anyway, it was late at night. I think they just finished their shift. It was 11:30. She rang and left a message on my aunt's phone saying, hi, Mum, I'm going to stay in the staff quarters tonight because we've got a shift tomorrow morning. So, she went back, and a few of them went in to speak to this guy. And to have a little bit of they were playing guitar and doing a bit of music and just hanging out and having a bit of fun. And then
she was 20?
She was 20.
Okay, so she was an adult, so she could go and stay overnight. Yeah.
She was staying, and it was a special flat associated to the hotel next to the hotel. And everybody came. There were a few people, and they all went. And Alice said, actually, I'm going to stay here to support this other guy. So she stayed, and she shut. They said, "Come on, Alice," and she shut the door. And then at some point we realised now since the police found out there was something that he'd planned to do, and that he'd planned to kill this young boy and then kill himself. That was his plan, because he couldn't bear to be without him. He sort of had a really strong, powerful love for him, and that was kind of, I don't know how he felt that he could cope. It's bizarre to me, but and Alice just happened to be there. And he killed, I don't really want to say his name. He killed the young boy. And then he tried to kill himself, but he was too much of a coward to kill himself. So he didn't. And then it was like the middle of the night, and Alice sort of came out like, what's going on? And then she was really in the wrong place at the wrong time. And he said in the court case she was an inconvenience, which was quite hard to hear. So he killed Alice. And he took a lot of his rage out on Alice, so in the way that he killed her. So, that's what happened. And it's obviously very shocking to hear. And it's something that...
Did he turn himself in?
No, he actually hid under the bed.
Became a whole story.
He hid under the bed. So the young boy was on the bed. He posed the boy on the bed. Alice, he just put a cushion over her face because he wanted to pretend that she wasn't there. And he hid under the bed. The police found the scene the next day, which was pretty. It wasn't a very nice scene to find. They were called after they tried calling ambulances, but it was too late. Alice stayed there, and the police roped off the scene, and they left them. And the police had that scene roped off for 48 hours. And they went in and they did investigations. They took photos and videos and they dusted for prints. They never looked under the bed.
Never looked under the bed.
And then after 48 hours, he was getting hungry and thirsty. And he came out at one point and got a bottle of water that the policeman had. And then he kind of came out and sort of opened the door, and they found him just because he'd come out from under the bed. So, yeah. Wow. But, I mean, I don't give really any energy to that story now. It's something that happened. It was very shocking. It was horrible at the time. And it's something that it's almost, I don't want to say it's irrelevant to me, but it's not something that I give any energy to. One of the hardest things for me was, you know, my baby's there and I can't get her. I wanted to go and see her or give her a cuddle or whatever it is I would have done as a mum. I was unable to do that. So what I did is I'm quite spiritual, and I just remember lying in bed one night and I was imagining how she was lying, and I shut my eyes and I was lying in that position. I actually asked the police how she was lying, and I imagined myself going to the place, and I took a rainbow blanket and I wrapped her in the blanket and I brought her home and I tucked her in bed and I kissed her goodnight. So spiritually I brought her home, and that gave me a lot of comfort to do that. I felt that I'd done that then.
Wow. That is amazing that you thought to do that.
Don't you start crying?
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
It's
something as a mum.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that part of the story. No, I didn't know that you did that. I mean, you are a very, very spiritual person. You're also incredibly healing. I think, I mean, even my little dog, while we've been here, he's obsessed with her. But Sarah, you do have that sort of energy about you. I
honestly think everybody is spiritual and everybody is healing. We've all got it in us.
Yeah.
But it's just whether sometimes we get caught up in life and busyness, and I'm very busy sometimes as well. But sometimes if you can just take a moment to be, then you can feel it. I can feel like my feet are buzzing now, which is a kind of a healing energy. For some reason, my feet are always tingling.
Well, you're so grounding for me as well. You know, I just like sitting next to you, or you know, I follow you around to the rooms where you're
a bit needy. Sometimes.
I am a bit needy. Get in bed with you. And
well, yes, I was going to say that. Yeah.
And I think that's a testament to who you are as a person. It's not something you try to be, or it's not something you talk about all the time. It's just who you are, which is really beautiful.
Oh, thank you.
I know you've told us what Alice was like, but I feel like sometimes the things that happen to people, like their death, we invest so much into that story.
Yeah.
Versus like all the things that they did, you know.
Yeah.
And also I think it would probably be a testament to her spirit of how you would have reacted, or how you would have, that whole thing would have unfolded. Like it seems like her spirit's full of love, your spirit's full of love. So together there was just a lot of love, even in a time that was so...
She was very much happy in who she was. I remember they did a show at the... I remember went to see a show. It was in her last year at the high school that she was at. And I went along thinking she was going to sing this song and play the piano, which she did. But then the next thing you know, and also everybody had all dressed up, and she'd just got these trousers that she'd gone in with that were a bit torn at the back, and she didn't really care about that, you know. And then, you know, somebody else came out and they were singing, and she came out, she was playing bass guitar. And I didn't even know she played bass guitar. And then the next thing, she's doing something else. It was like the Alice show. And they went, Alice, can you come and do backing vocals? And then also it was quite a funny story with her sister Caroline, because she wanted to sing Natalie Imbruglia's song.
Torn.
What's it called? Torn. Yeah. And she said, Caroline, would you mind like doing some harmonies with me? So Caroline turned up. It was like an hour before the show, and Alice, typical. She hadn't sort of planned ahead or anything. She goes, I'm not quite sure what the chords are on the piano. And Caroline says, I think it's this. It's just the same four chords keep going round. And I said, why don't you, can you play it? So next thing, poor old Caroline, she would have only been about 14 at the time. She's up on stage playing the piano and singing, and Alice was having the best time ever. I've got a video of it. It's lovely. And Alice is just singing the harmonies, and Caroline's singing the song and playing the piano. But yeah, she was, she loved music and singing.
And this is a good time to mention that you have 2 other daughters.
Yes, I've got, Caroline was 13 months younger than Alice, and then Daisy was born on Alice's 12th birthday.
Wow.
And Alice always used to say to Daisy, you're the best birthday present I've ever had.
Oh,
which is a really nice thing to say.
It's a sweet thing for a sister to say, especially one that's that much older. They would have, usually kids would have been like, oh,
I would have been furious.
Share my birthday.
Yeah. Great.
So then after that, you guys had we've talked a little bit about this on the pod. There was a lot of court proceedings and legal things that had to happen. And I can't remember now if you told me this story or Kathryn told me this story, but there was a story about the courtroom with the man there and going through these proceedings. Do you know the story with the light?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't really tell people this story.
You don't have to tell it.
You have to tell anything.
Don't have to tell it if you don't want to tell that story.
Well, I'll tell it. You can always edit it out.
We can always edit it out.
Yeah, because I don't know how people would react to it.
Well, here's the thing. It's your story.
Yeah.
And if you want to tell it, you can tell it. And if you don't have to. But what's beautiful about it is it's a testament to who, again, you are, and also a testament to part of the healing process.
Yeah.
And also how you get, I think, to choose a lane in any situation, right?
Yeah.
Here you are in every mother, every parent's worst nightmare. And there's, there could be anger. I mean, even I've had friends, they're so angry about it. And I bet you want to kill him. And I bet you feel like, and people have so many reactions about it. But this is you, and this is how you dealt with it. And this is an experience that you had.
Yeah.
And it is what it is.
I guess I'm lucky because I'm in tune with my spiritual side. Like I say, we're all spiritual, and some people sort of listen to it more, we're able to hear it more, and we're all protected and loved and given guidance. But I guess I'm quite lucky in that respect. But we were in the court, and there were people around me that were very upset. I mean, of course, I was very upset, but I felt like I was watching a play in a way. And until they mentioned her name, then it would jolt me out. Very upset, very angry people around me, my boyfriend at the time, other people as well. And I looked at the man and I tried to feel anger, but I couldn't. I felt like he'd got light all coming down onto him, like light, golden white light coming down. And I couldn't feel anger. And I wasn't feeling love, it wasn't that much, but I just had no feeling. I didn't have any feeling towards him. I felt there was love coming into him somehow. It sounds bizarre. It was just a weird
I don't think it does.
experience. I don't know if it was a way to protect me or whatever.
It was a detachment from him,
Yeah.
and a detachment from like having all of those. It's a huge emotional intelligence, I think, from you.
That's what I was going to say. The word that came to me was evolved.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it is just what it is, and that's how you dealt with it.
Yeah.
And
and there's nothing you can do about it, is there?
No.
And it was so weird because, I mean, I believe that we do choose certain things that happen to us when we get down here, and who we're going to be with and how we're going to be and what challenges we're going to try and overcome. We don't always overcome them. And I always felt that Alice was here for a little while.
Well, you said it when she was born, didn't you?
I said it to Mum, and I don't know. It wasn't when she was born. I think she was about 2 or something. And I said, we're lucky to have her, aren't we? And I said, she's not going to be here very long. She's not going to be here for as long as I want her to be. And Mum said, why would you say that? And I was like, I don't know. Why would I say that? But
Wow.
I don't know. It just...
Your higher self knew.
So I kind of think that was kind of preparing me in a way. And also, like about a year before she died, I always say died. I know people say
I always say died too. That's okay. You can say that.
But a year before, she went and had a reading. I knew nothing about this. She went and had a tarot reading. and it was all very positive and everything to start off with. And she came in and she was really, really upset. And I said, what's the matter? And I was cuddling her. She said, I've had this tarot reading. And I said, oh, well, you know, why? What did they say? And she said, it was a really nice reading. It was talking about me and my boyfriend. There was all this lovely thing about music and art and all these lovely things. And then right at the end, the lady picked up the cards and all the cards fell on the floor, and she got all flustered and all the cards fell on the floor, apart from one which fell the wrong way round, and she was trying to pick it up quickly. And I was saying, what is it? And the lady said, oh, nothing, it doesn't matter, nothing. It's your reading's finished. And Alice persisted. She said, no, I want to know what it is. And the lady said, they're saying that you won't live to see your 21st birthday.
Oh.
And I said, there's no way that anybody would ever tell you that. I said, that's absolute rubbish. And we had a hug and we had a bit of a laugh about it. And I said, there's no way. How ridiculous. Why would somebody, you know, even if you saw that, you wouldn't say that there's no way. And that was an awful experience for Alice, but it was a gift to me. And I'd forgotten about that because I completely put it out of my mind. And it was only a long time after a few months after she died. And Suzanne said, do you remember that lady that...
Suzanne's our younger sister.
Sorry, Suzanne's my other sister. And it was a gift to me because I felt like it was meant to be. It was written. It was already there. It was going to happen. It wasn't like I did this and made it happen, or I didn't make her. I mean, I've often wrestled with maybe I made her too trusting, or she shouldn't have been so trusting. Maybe I should have made her be a bit more guarded with people, but then she wouldn't have been who she was.
That's right.
But it was a gift to me because it confirmed what I kind of knew, that we've all got these paths that we're on. And
wow.
Yeah.
That's... Yeah,
I know and there's other things as well.
But for you to be so, obviously you guys both share a very spiritual connection and a spiritual through line in your family, but that's next level. I mean, that really shows a lot of like I said, the involvement with your spirit and understanding things like that, and that is a gift.
Thank you.
So much of I feel like I always talk about parenting as perception. You have a lot of people who talk about how hard it is to be difficult to be a parent, or how difficult certain things are, and so much of it is just how you perceive things, right? Your perception
absolutely.
of things.
Yeah.
You can go through life perceiving things being hard, or you can go through life perceiving that everything's a gift.
Yeah, and whichever one you perceive is right. So, you know.
That's true. There is no right or wrong. That's right.
Yeah. So.
I know, it's just cheesy. I always say that when that happened to Alice, it was like I very quickly decided, I made a decision, a conscious decision, went outside, feet in the ground, all the things that, you know, crystals and this and that and meditation. But I was like, I'm going to choose to find some way out of this, that I don't want to be a victim. I don't want to be, you know, of course I'm going to be sad, but I don't want it to own me. Like grief can sit here for you, or it can sit here for you. That's how it is for me. Yeah. And it's making that decision, and I think, I mean, we were all led by you in that way.
Yeah.
And
you were just about to go on air. Do you remember?
Yeah, I was in the studio, literally just walking. I was walking to the studio, late as always, and you rang, and I don't even know. It's weird that I even had my phone in my hand at that time, because usually it would have just been left in the dressing room, and Sarah just rang me and told me, and I just kept walking.
And
I walked
said,
past.
before I tell you, don't go on it. I said, I'm going to tell you something, but don't go on air.
Yeah, I didn't. I just walked past the place and I was like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
And also what was weird was that night was the night of the London riots. So there was rioting in London.
Wow.
And so
the energy, the chaos. Yeah.
The energy, the chaos. There was a lot of turmoil. Everybody was worried, and I had a lot of guilt as well.
Yeah.
We all wrestled with these things. But I rang every single person I knew that night. Where are you? What are you doing? Where are you staying? Like, let's all, should we all get together? Figuring it out. But I didn't ring Alice. Why didn't I ring Alice? It's just so, there was just so many things like that it was always going to happen.
Yeah. And Caroline was working in Uxbridge, wasn't she? At the time.
Yeah.
So I was very worried about her. So when the police came and told me, there were 3 police, and it's not what you want when you open the door. I opened the door and I said, is everything okay? And they said, no. And then they started to sort of move me back and walk into my house. I thought, this is weird. They're coming into my house. And then they said, well, maybe come in. So the next question I asked is, everybody okay? And I think they said no. And then they said, when did you last see your daughter? And I was thinking, oh, Caroline and the riots. And I said, I saw her this morning. And they went, oh, you definitely saw her this morning? I said, yes, she went off to work at 8 o'clock. Oh, right. Oh, have we got the wrong person? So I had all this shock, and then it was like, oh, okay. Oh, thank God it's, And they said, so you definitely saw Alice this morning? And then, of course, it just hit me. I thought, no. So that was, it was, so there was a lot of shocks.
Strange, yeah.
A lot of shocks.
Yeah.
But also the day that she went, so obviously she went on one day and did the work at the hotel, and then it was in the early hours of the next morning. So it was on the
10th
of August that she left.
Right. Correct.
And for some reason, she went, Mum, can you look after my plants for me? And she went and got her plants, and I was saying, what, you want me to water them? She said, oh yeah, I haven't had time to water them. So she put a plant out, then another one, and my whole table was covered with about 12 plants. And then she left us. So now I've got these plants to look after, and I'm thinking, I don't want to,
How subconscious might that have been of her to just know that
bizarre, isn't it?
her plants were going to need, we're going to need a new parent.
It was all these little things that she left.
Her friend Ruby, Ruby's mum, she said it was like my second mummy. She used to go around there because she said her mummy makes lovely dinners, and I tried not to get,
Well, you make lovely dinners.
Well, she was just very one of these nurturing. She was just a kind of an earthy sort of mum, I would say, and she was always round there. And she was used to, for some reason, when she was round there, she used to hide pennies in the house.
The little girl?
Alice.
Oh, in her friend's house.
Alice used to hide pennies in the house. And Ruby's mum still, but so they could find them and then think, oh, Alison's been here.
Oh,
so it was a little game they played. So Ruby's mum said she still finds
like
pennies.
breadcrumbs, like little angel breadcrumbs.
Oh, I love that idea.
I'm gonna start
leaving pennies.
When Ruby's mum went camping, because I met up with her, I can't remember what it was. We were going to see a choir doing something and raising money for something, and she went camping and. She sort of had this really weird feeling, and she got up out of her tent in the morning, and there were 3 pennies in front of her tent. And it could have been pennies had been dropped, or whatever.
You could do that, or you could just take it for the message that it is.
This pod was created because we want to help the collective be more connected. We want people to be more connected and understand there's more to this than this, right? And what a gift to have that knowing in the same space that you've had something so terrible happen, because that is how you've healed. You've healed through your spirituality.
I do. I mean, when I went to her funeral, we were following behind the horse and cart, and she was in a lovely sort of a wickery kind of baskety
Fairy house.
Fairy house. I'm not allowed to say the word. And it had all bluebells over it and wildflowers and everything. It was lovely. And as we were driving in, I was like, oh, there's this person and this person. And instead of feeling really sad and upset, I felt like Alice was excited that all of these people had got together. Yeah. That's kind of the feeling that I got.
So many people were there. Like
so many people standing outside.
Coach turned up.
And,
Coach actually turned up.
My friend came over from, Amsterdam, and just...
she touched so many people's lives. She just left ripples, didn't she?
And Daisy wrote, on the way there, I was explaining to Daisy, because she was only 8, and I said to her, right, what we're going to do is there's going to be a little lady there. She's going to talk about Alice and who she was, and all of Alice's friends are there, and you can sit next to me. I said, but at some point, I'm just going to get up and I'm just going to say a few things. She said, what are you going to say? And I said, well, I've written a few things about Alice and how Alice always wanted to be Supergirl, not because she wanted to fly, but because she wanted to help people. And Daisy said, well, can I say something? And I said, well, what are you going to say? And she said, have you got a piece of paper? So I had an order of service, and she just wrote a little thing on the back saying, Alice is a artist. Alice is this, Alice is that, Alice helps you, Alice is always there for you, and Alice is my sister. And it was just a childlike poem, but beautiful. And she stood up and read it, and it was so lovely. She read it out. All you could see was the lectern with the top of her head. And she read it out beautifully. Do you remember that?
Yeah, of course. I mean, there were so many. My brother wrote a beautiful poem on the way driving up. Her dad wrote a beautiful poem. There were so many things. We've got a website that people could go and see all the things, but it was just, she just has such a beautiful soul, and she created such she's just love. She taught me, she just saw people's souls. Do you know what I mean? If you describe somebody to her, I'd say, what about you? Is that your friend with the such and such hair? And she'd be like, I hadn't thought about her having that sort of hair, because she didn't associate, not like in the human way that we do. You know, she didn't associate people with that. It was just the feeling. You know, and that's what was so beautiful about her.
She always saw the good in people, didn't she?
She always saw
That's
the good.
actually a great transition to talk about the treehouse and her little friend and get into the story of Russell and all of that.
Oh yeah, our little friend Russell.
Our little friend.
Tell about, I'm going to start with the treehouse though, and what inspired that, because the name of your book is Little Tree's Secret, The Little Tree's Secret.
Yeah.
And she has a treehouse memorial in her name.
She does, in Black Park in England.
What's the name of the treehouse?
It's called Alice's Treehouse.
Okay.
And we were all talking about it. I think it was me, Kathryn, and Jonathan. We were all talking about it and trying to think we wanted to do something positive, because we're always like that in our family, and we can thank our mum for that.
Yeah.
You know, always take the positive, take something positive. What can we do that's good in her name? We don't want to remember her with sadness. We want to remember her joy and her, like, she loved people and connecting people. And we were all thinking about it. And we thought about doing the Alice Adams Foundation, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
And building a tree house, because she absolutely loved climbing trees, and she was teaching Daisy to climb a tree, and she taught her friends to, and there were different levels. So when you'd mastered this tree, then she'd take you up to another tree. There's a really big tree that I go to sometimes in Pinewood Fields, and that's her tree. But we wanted to do this tree house in Black Park, and Kathryn was an absolute, take a project and run with it.
Wow. That was my healing. I'm a
your
doer.
Yeah, that was, you got very busy doing that, and it was amazing. We had all these fantastic ideas, you know, quirky little place that you can climb up to, and, you know, with little tables, and we wanted it just to be a place for people to gather and just come and gather and just maybe have a bit of fun. There was a swing there, and walking the log, you could walk along the log, and
the place that you could go and chat in the tree house, and there's snakes and ladders table, or I think in America they call it snakes and shoots.
Yeah, and a little
like
slide. Shoots and ladders.
Shoots and ladders.
Shoots and ladders. And a slide made out of a big tree trunk, you know, a slide.
A wishing well. A tree that you could hug. We wanted arms coming out of, because she'd always.
We called it Daisy's wishing
She was
well.
so connected.
Yeah.
She was already plugged in.
Yeah,
She was late for work once, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, she worked at Go Ape which was for about a year, which was in Black Park as well, which is a big place where you can climb up trees and go along bridges, and I don't know if you
like
have
a little
that
kids'
here.
play center, like
for
activity.
adults.
Oh, it's for adults.
For adults, and then you do a Tarzan swing at the end, where you swing and get hold of this cargo net, and I was scared. I was there for about half an hour trying to do it, but she loved things like that, so she worked there. And then one day she used to cycle there. You could cycle there from our house, and she cycled in on her bike, and she was actually 20 minutes late for work. She said, "I'm so sorry I'm late for work." She said, I was cycling in, and all of a sudden I went over a stone and I wobbled and fell off my bike. And she said, and I fell. She said, "You won't believe it. I landed in a field of bluebells." And she said, "I looked around and there was bluebells everywhere. I looked up, the sky was blue." And she said, "I thought, do you know what? I'm just going to enjoy this moment." She didn't think, "Oh, I better get to work."
Or come up with a better excuse.
Or come up with a better excuse. And she could have said an excuse. But that was her reason. And she just wanted to enjoy that time. And she just had a lovely time lying in the field of bluebells.
Wow.
But I didn't know about that until
Her soul was
afterwards.
appreciating the present moment.
Absolutely. Yeah, be in the present moment. That's very much what she was all about.
But she got fired. Did she get fired?
She didn't.
She didn't get fired. Oh,
No,
good. They let her stay.
Everyone loves. Everyone loves Alice.
They let her keep the job.
The job. Yeah.
Yeah, she was brilliant at it.
So,
But yeah, so we built this tree house, and it was a labour of love. It took a long time, and we finally got it all together. And then tell the Russell story, because again, that's an ode to her.
There's so many coincidences that I can't even remember all the coincidences, but I remember this one. So I was friendly with this girl, and I was talking to her, and I said, look, she was really helping me sort out some of my stuff, my clutter and stuff like that. And I said, look, you've got to come along. We kept saying, oh, we must go for a walk. We must go for a walk. I said, I want to, show you we're building this tree house and everything. I said, actually, we're having an opening of the tree house in January. I said, you've got to come along. I said, because Russell Brand's coming. Now, he wasn't coming, but in my mind, he was, because I'd emailed his manager, and I'd got his email
Cold email.
I got his email from, I emailed his email. I got his email from Alice's friend, who was an avid fan.
Oh, yes. Tell us about Alice's friend.
Alice's friend, Louise. She's lovely. She always used to...
Which is Alice's middle name?
Yeah, that's right. I never even thought about that.
Louise. And she always used to, wherever he was on, she used to go and watch him. And I don't know,
And she was disabled?
Yeah, she was in a wheelchair, so she used to love that. She said, come with me wherever I go. We get up the front. We get the best seats, you know.
I know.
So she had his email address, because he was, he
was always really kind to her, wasn't he? He'd spend time with her.
Yeah, he was always would spend time with her. And
because they would go to Russell Brand's shows.
Yeah.
He probably just saw her. Would she go more than once? I'm assuming she'd been to a few shows.
Alice only went once.
Oh, but Alice went once.
Alice went once with her, but Louise used to go every time.
Okay, so he knew Louise. Russell knew Louise.
He knew Louise, so she had his email address.
Okay.
And she gave it to me, and I emailed him and saying, and I said, look, this bad thing's happened, but as always, I dismissed it fairly quickly. I said exactly what it was. I said, my daughter was murdered. This happened. However, we're trying to do something positive in the community. And I said, and if you could come along, it's only down the road from you. If you could come along, I promise to get you a big oversized pair of scissors and you can cut the ribbon. I just thought I'd make it a bit fun and silly. And so I did that. So I said to my friend about it, and she said, oh, actually, no, my sister's really good friends with Laura, who was
his girlfriend at
his
the time, now wife.
girlfriend at
Russell
the time.
Brand's girlfriend.
Yes. And now his wife. So she said, that's funny, because they're always trying to get me to go round to help with this and that and the other. And
because she's an organiser.
Yeah, because she's an organiser. But she didn't say anything else other than that. Anyway, I didn't find out this story until afterwards, because when we went to the tree house, we opened the tree house, we had a ribbon. We opened the tree house, and then everybody was all milling
We had
about.
a bit of press there.
Yeah,
it was all, there was tons of people, so many, all of our friends everywhere. It was amazing.
Oh, it was amazing. And I was upstairs talking to a couple of people, and they said to me, there's somebody quite important over there. So I was like, who is it? And I'm looking. They said, is that Russell Brand? And I was like, is it Russell Brand? I don't know. And I was talking to them, but because I'm polite, I carried on. I said, oh, that's amazing. But I carried on talking to them. It was actually Alice's kickboxing teacher, Master Bedlow. And he said, Sarah, why don't you go and say hello? And I said, well, I wanted to honour the conversation I was having with them. And they would get off down the stairs or go down the slide and go and see him. And so I went over, and he was absolutely amazing. And he came up to me, and I said, I'm Alice's mum. And he said, oh, and he was like holding my hands, and and I said, look, what do you want? We've got press there. Do you want me to ask them not to take photos? What do you want? Do you
want the press had left by the time
cut
that he
the
got
ribbon
there?
Or, well, I said, do you want people to know? I was worried in case he didn't want to be in any photos.
Yeah.
And he looked at me and he said to me, Sarah, I'm here for you. And it stopped me in my tracks because I'm always about other people. And he said, whatever you want, I'm here for it. And I was like, well, we have already cut the ribbon. He said, let's tie it up again and we'll cut it again. So we did cut it again. And
It was lovely, wasn't it?
We videoed it and he said, I'm opening the treehouse again. It's already been opened before. You know, so that was
But
him.
he was lovely.
Oh, I didn't say the coincidence.
You didn't say the
Oh,
coincidence.
so the coincidence was, what happened was Laura was talking to him and said, look, my friend said, you know, this lady's doing this tree house. It's really good. There was a young girl in the village and this has happened, that's happened. You know, what would you think about us going along, just popping along for an hour, just turning up ad hoc? And as she was telling him about it, he said, hold on a minute. And something pinged in his phone and it was his manager. And the manager said, you've got a message from this lady who's opening a tree house in her daughter's name. And it was the exact same thing. And he looked at Laura and he said, we've got to go. It's too much coincidence. So,
I just got full chills.
yeah.
He was
That
so
was
nice though, because
amazing.
he stayed for so long, didn't he? And he
He
walked around. We haven't spoken about Caroline, and maybe we can talk about that. But he spent a long time with Caroline.
He did,
spent
yeah.
With everybody. Anybody that wanted to hang out with him, for as long as they wanted to hang out with him, they could.
Yeah.
And he walked around. He was talking to everybody. He went down the slide. We've got a great
And
picture of him going down the slide with
what he
Daisy.
was finding out who Alice was. He kept saying, what's your experience of Alice? Or how did you know her? So then when
He was so invested.
He was really invested. And then when he spoke, when he opened the treehouse, it was as if he'd known her for years and years. It was the perfect speech. It was brilliant.
It was
It was
beautiful.
funny. It was
Spiritual.
Spiritual.
It was full of love.
It was full of love. And he had a little Ganesh, I don't know what it was made from, and he gave it to Daisy. Actually, he said we can put this somewhere, you know, special.
What was it?
Treehouse. A little Ganesh.
The elephant.
Which is an Indian god.
Yeah.
Which is, it's got the head of an elephant. It's called
Yes,
Ganesh.
yeah.
He had that. He was into all sorts of religions.
He'd been to
at the
India
time.
and he'd
Yeah.
had some spiritual time in India. Yeah.
Yeah, so he said, we'll put this up here, and he put it on top. We'd got a great big sort of Alice in Wonderland style chair, and he sort of put it on top of there, and we could leave it there. And then Daisy said to him, if we leave that there, somebody might take it though, mightn't they? We can't just leave it there the whole time. And he said, why don't you have it?
Oh,
And he gave it to her.
What I
She
mean,
still got it.
that's such a cool dude.
He's I think, yeah, he was so lovely to everybody.
was,
It was
Wow.
amazing.
Yeah.
and Alice had her hand, I'm sure,
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah.
in
Yeah.
all of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was Louise there that day?
Louise, no, she couldn't come. It was a really, really cold day, so she didn't come. I don't know if she gets cold.
Yeah.
But the funny thing is, we've got all fairy, and we've got names all over. So all of Alice's friends have got their names. Like we've got Heather's Hideout.
We did a fairy
and,
door for everybody. I wanted to do a fairy door in the treehouse for every one of her friends and family.
Oh.
So I'd got a budget for about 10, and I ended up making the guy do about 58.
Yeah.
As I
It was
do.
a lot. It was a lot. So we had the family tree, which was basically a big tree that was going to be cut down anyway, and they hollowed it out, and it's got all the family on. So it's got Caroline's
Yeah.
Summerland and
Polly's penthouse.
Polly's,
And,
yeah.
yeah.
And you could go inside the tree and climb up and get into the upstairs bit. It was very magical, wasn't it? So all of Alice's friends and
There was a
were
door
there.
for everybody, basically.
Wow.
So it was...
I can't remember what I was
I
telling
think
you
it's so beautiful how you've shared your grief with people. I think I'm just saying there would have been a version of this where you could have kept it to yourself and kept the grief for yourself, because sharing grief is very difficult because you have to manage and relive through everybody else's stories or everybody else's experience. So as a mom, I can see maybe being a little bit more contained, but the fact that you let everybody share in that grief, that's a testament to
I
you.
don't kind of see it as sharing in the grief. I see it as sharing in the joy of Alice. That's kind of how I look at it.
But
the
same, this joy, grief, that same thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Because sometimes I feel like as a mother, you could be like, well, this was my daughter. I'm the one I deserve to take it the hardest. I deserve to have this, my experience without everybody else. But
actually, and it's funny you say that, because she was my daughter, but she belonged to us all.
That's true.
Because she was unique and special. And
that's right.
actually, on her place where she is, it says, "Our lovely Alice." It doesn't say "my lovely Alice." It just says "our lovely Alice." And we've done that for our lovely mum as well.
We have.
She's next to Alice.
They were so that now if Sarah and I ever do meditations, or Sarah did some healing on me recently, it's always my mum and Alice together having like laughing, and they're just
My mum.
my mum, our mum.
I've heard the two of them bicker. One will say my mom, and then we'll be like,
There's a lot of giggling.
my mom, our
Yeah,
mom.
yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Well, Sarah, just so you know, was the favourite.
Yeah. That's also what
Child.
sisters do when they're mad at the other sister.
Yeah.
They're like, well, my mom said.
My mum said Sarah was definitely the favourite child. We always used to joke about it.
That was a goodie too.
Do we want to talk a little bit about the book before we? I want all this to get away without talking about the book.
Yeah,
'Cause the
your
book you can buy.
Yeah, your book that you wrote
Oh,
about the
I know.
treehouse. Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking over there because
But
it's over
here,
there.
you-
But
here-
you've got a copy of it.
I'll hold it up.
The Little Tree Secret.
The back.
I don't even want to take credit for this book because what happened was I woke up one night and I never sort of remember my dreams, and I'd had this sort of, it wasn't even a dream, it was a kind of like, I had this like a vision of trees with all their roots, and I just had this, I won't say what it is because it's kind of in the book, but I had this vision, and I sort of, I don't know, I kind of heard it like a children's story, like this happened, this happened, this happened. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go and just, it was like 4 a.m, 4:45 in the morning. And I thought, I'm just going to write it down. And it just kind of came out of me. It was 45 minutes. And I just wrote this book. And then I went back to bed. And then I woke up in the morning. I thought, did I write a book in the middle of the night? Oh, was I? And then I went to my computer and I read it and I thought, ooh, that's actually really good. I thought, I don't know, it's really good. And then I asked a few people, I showed a few people the story, and then I asked for their advice. I said, what would you do if this was you? And I asked people that had written books, and they were saying things like, change this slightly, do this because it's good to have things in threes, or it's good and this is a good pattern, and do this and that. And I did change it a bit. And then as I was doing this, I kind of thought, no, I want it to be pure, how it just came out of me. So I took it all back to the beginning and I've just kept it as it was, as I did it. And I haven't changed a thing. My friend Darren Mason is an amazing artist, and he was a graphic designer, and he loves doing wildlife art. His dream, absolute dream, would be to go to the Galapagos Isles and draw like the big turtles there that they've got, and he would love to do that. So he draws very detailed drawings in oils and acrylics of animals. And I said to him, I wrote a book last night. Would you consider illustrating it for me? And it's not something that he's done. Actually, he has written his own book. Do you remember he wrote that book, Archie Potts?
Oh,
It's
yeah, the
about
historian,
an archaeologist, the boy archaeologist. With muddy boots, and anyway, and I liked the art that he did on it, and I said to him, I'd like it that kind of Archie Potts look, but a bit more sort of a wash. In fact, I'd like you to just spend like maybe 20 minutes on each picture. I don't want it to be detailed. I just want it to be like an impressionist kind of picture. And he did a picture for the whole story. And I looked at the pictures and I thought, it was perfect. He said, you can change anything. There's anything you want to change. But there was nothing that I wanted to change. It was just perfect. And he did it with love. You know, I know that he did it with love. And then he helped me. He said, well, we could put it on Amazon. And am I advertising? Am I allowed to say that?
Yes, do it. Yeah, we're gonna do it if you don't do it.
Yes. So he said, all you have to do is... send it off to Amazon. Oh, he sort of put it all together with the pages, sent it off to Amazon, and we put it on Amazon.
Wow.
And,
So you can purchase this book. This is also one of Alice's sketches on the back right there.
Yeah. It was a little doodle she did in class at school.
It's got a feather and a sunshine, flowers and butterflies, clouds, and
It was all of her favourite things.
feet and
Pernicas.
cupcakes and rainbows. Yeah.
Rainbows, she was very much about the
Keyboard.
rainbows.
So we'll put a link to The Little Tree's Secret
Oh,
on
thank you.
YouTube. For those of you guys that want to purchase it on Amazon, it's a beautiful story. A lot of I definitely, being a spiritual person, saw the parallels of your story with the tree. So
Yeah.
it's a
I
very
really
sweet
think
way
it
to
would be
tell it.
a wonderful story to read with children who've lost somebody close to them. I think it would be, I hope that's what I want it to be anyway.
Yeah.
That's how I felt that it should be.
It is.
If I had the money, I'd give it out free to everybody. But,
Well, it's on
yeah.
Amazon, so that's
Yeah. So buy it.
buy it.
Basically.
Yeah.
Don't be tight.
And then also we want to talk about Sunshine Choir.
Yeah.
Oh, wow,
We
yeah.
want to talk about Sunshine Choir and the beautiful thing that you've created, which
And by the way, all of this, just to put it in context, this is how you heal through your creativity. Would you agree? Is that how
I
you
would agree with that looking back in retrospect, but it's not something that I set out to do. I always decided that I wanted to set up a choir, and it was something that maybe I wouldn't have done it if I hadn't lost Alice. Maybe that was a gift that she gave me. She's given me so many gifts.
Yeah.
And that may have been one of them.
Yeah.
Because, I was working at, the Concord Club for 7 years, was working there in the office, and, I should have been out there creating music. And so after we lost her, it was something that I thought, well, actually, maybe I should do this and honour her as well.
Yeah.
To do this.
Yeah.
So
She'd be so proud of it.
So I did set up the Ivor Singers was my choir that I set up as a local choir. I wanted it to be no auditions, didn't have to read music. I wanted anyone to come along that enjoyed singing. Everybody loves singing. Everyone sings in the shower, or it doesn't matter how you think your voice is. I wanted everybody to sing. There's something about singing en masse. It doesn't matter if you're what your voice is like. Everybody sounds great together, especially if you're singing with joy and enjoying it. So so I set that up in 2014, and then a few years later, there was a seed planted in my head, actually. There was a seed planted in my head before that, because I went to work at a nursing home. Do you call them care homes?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I went there as a credit controller. I'm one of these people that wing it. So I'm not a credit control person. I mean, my background is secretarial. Is that your dog?
Yeah. You have pause for dogs. Hold on. Okay.
But yes, so I went to work at a nursing home as a credit controller, and I was upstairs on the 3rd floor, and I was very good at the spreadsheets. I was very good at getting everything organised, but I wasn't good at ringing up people and getting money out of them, because I'd ring up, they'd tell me their story, and I'd think, oh, that's such a shame, and I would be there like. I'm not kidding you. I was there for 6 months. I was there. I didn't get 1 penny in. And in the end, they said, we're really sorry. We're going to have to let you go, which was fine. I wasn't doing my job. However, during that time, one of the things I used to love is I used to go downstairs where the people were sitting out in the sun lounge, and they got a piano there. So I used to play the piano. Oh. And I remember one Christmas I went in with Mum and Alice and Caroline. And I said, let's do it. Everybody loves and knows Christmas songs. And we went in, and there was a lady sitting in the front who I hadn't seen before. I remember she had white curly hair. She reminded me of Nan a bit. And there was got all people in the sun lounge, and we sang Christmas carols. I played the piano. We sang Christmas carols, and this lady in the front was absolutely loving it, singing along. And she'd got some keys. I'm not sure what they were. And she was jingling them for jingle bells, singing along. And she was singing all the songs. Anyway, we finished, and then we were walking off. And as we walked off, somebody was like pulling my arm, and I was like, who is it? And it was one of the nurses in charge. And she said, you see that lady in the front? I wish I could remember her name. I think it was something like Audrey. That lady has been here. She doesn't normally come down. She's been here for 8 months. She hasn't said a word.
Wow.
She said, and we've just sat and watched her. And this is what makes me emotional. We've just watched her singing all the songs and connecting with other people. So it's not just about you're in your own world singing your songs. You're connecting with people that you knew when you were younger. You're connecting with the people that are there with you singing the same songs. It's such a strong, powerful connection making music together. And as I walked out of that building, I thought, there's something, I've got to do something with this. This is so important. So in 2019, I set up a dementia-friendly choir. I don't call it a dementia choir because if other people want to come along, it's dementia-friendly, but other people are welcome to come along. I don't ever want to exclude anyone. And it was called the Sunshine Choir, and that name came from our lovely mum.
Yeah. Oh, did your mum say that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to call it. I did think about the Rainbow Choir, but I always think one day I might have a children's choir, which is the Rainbow Choir.
Oh,
and they'll all
that'd be
wear
nice.
different coloured T-shirts. But anyway, that's something for the future, maybe. But she said, why don't you call it the Sunshine Choir? Because you're bringing sunshine into people's lives. And I thought that was so nice. So we called it the Sunshine Choir, and we went all through the COVID years. We won't talk about that too much, but just to say that it was very difficult because obviously we couldn't get together with people. So I set up a YouTube account called Sarah's Sing Along, and I sang some songs, easy singing songs like She'll Be Coming Round the Mountain and Country Roads, and did a few warm-ups. Sometimes it was just me singing. I've got a rainbow-coloured cowboy hat on, of course.
Of course, or Dilly Boppers or something hilarious.
Anything like that. And then sometimes Caroline would often sing with me. Sometimes Daisy would sing with me. Sometimes all three of us. And I just put them out. And so people who were at the Sunshine Choir could then go and watch me on their telly and sing along. So we did that. And we went out for some walks in nature, like Black Park and Langley Park. And we went out and we were walking at a distance, but also stopping and singing songs as well. So, yeah, so the Sunshine Choir.
I love it because it allows them to like click back into that.
Yeah, there's
moment.
been so much research done now
So
around
important.
that and how important it is for people who are going through that.
People don't lose the essence of who they are. I mean, sometimes people's personalities can change, especially with Alzheimer's, but they're in there somewhere.
Well, and I believe scientifically, though, it has been proven that music, those neural pathways, reconnects and helps people kind of go back to a place where they can remember things that they didn't remember related to music. It brings them up for a little while, and then they kind of go back and, but...
Something somebody told me once, I think it was part of the training, because I put myself on training about people with dementia, and that we have all these memories that we create. So we have a bookcase, and when we're little, we've got these books of memories, and then we've got more books. And then as you get up to the top of the bookcase, as you're getting older and older, the bookcase is a little bit wobbly. So sometimes those memories at the top can fall off, but the memories at the bottom never fall off because they're steady at the ground. So the things that happened to us as a child, we remember a lot more than the things. Sometimes people can't remember what they had for breakfast in the morning, or they can't even remember who they are, but they'll remember something that happened to them when they were little.
Yeah.
We also have another bookcase full of memories, and this is memories associated with emotions. And any books that are associated with emotions, that is solid as a rock. They never fall off. So if you've got a memory that's associated with an emotion, and if you have a nice emotion, such as music and joy, quite a lot of people sang in school assembly, and it was a fun part of the day where we all got together and we all sang songs, spiritual songs. And, spiritual songs are always uplifting, aren't they? So if you sing All Things Bright and Beautiful, for example, is one that we do, people love that. People love singing it. Morning Has Broken. And people can remember it because they've got an emotional, a happy emotional connection.
Jesus Loves Me.
Yeah, all of those.
Those kids used to learn when you're in Bible school, those songs too that you can remember.
Learning the recorder and sitting on the hard floor.
How were you on the recorder, Kathryn?
I was not bad. I didn't talk about it.
I heard a little rumor Kathryn's joining a choir.
I'm going to join the choir. It's
really
the choir where
hope
you don't need to audition and you don't need to be able to sing. So
yeah, thank
very
you, Sarah.
welcome.
You're such a testament to what healing can be for people.
Yeah, and an example of how you can.
There's so many different ways that you could have worked through that, but the way that you did it is
beautiful.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful.
What would be the one thing that you would say to somebody that's going through, not necessarily exactly what you went through, but going through anything that seems like such a huge mountain to climb for you, for them, for their kids, for just for everything? What would you say to them?
It's very hard, isn't it? Because grief is with you always. And I think sometimes people try and, like you said about it's here for you to one side. To me, I feel it's in my heart. It's with me. You don't learn to live with grief or get over grief. It's you build your life around it. It's part of who you are, and honour that. But, you know, what I would say is you will be okay. You will be okay.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And you are okay, and we are okay.
Yeah.
And
I
we've lived.
think you guys are more than okay.
Yeah, I think so too. We're lucky we've all got each other.
Yeah.
And I'm lucky I've got you, because I love you. My other soul sister.
And I'm so lucky that I get to see you two as sisters on this pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, I came over
beautiful.
for the pod, and as a byproduct, I also got to see my lovely sister and hang out with her.
And I got to snuggle in your bed.
Yes, whether I wanted you or not. Would you like me to come in the morning? Would you like me to come into bed with you? I said, or no? I went, no.
But did I come in anyway?
Yes, just like a good little sister does.
Yes. Yeah.
Aw. Well, thank you so much, Sarah. It's been wonderful having you. We appreciate you sharing your story today.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we're going to put all of your stuff, I've got a little GoFundMe for you for all of your bits, because I know you're raising money for the Treehouse and for your Sunshine Choir.
Oh, thank you
and
so
I think
much.
it's a lovely, beautiful thing to have.
Thank you.
Thank you for being you, and I love you with all my heart.
Ah, love you
Love,
too.
love.
Lots of love.
See your nails. You're so fun.
I'm fun and quirky.